Hi, I'm Miles Protter. Now, what would you think if I told you that I was with a bunch of highly educated, successful Western business leaders and social entrepreneurs trying to get some sort of leadership advice or leadership learnings from a 73-year-old illiterate grandmother and farmer in one of the poorest countries of the world? You might kind of be forgiven for thinking, well, that's a bit unlikely. Well, guess what? This happened to me just this past week. There I was with a group of Western educated business leaders and social entrepreneurs on a leadership immersion program called Unlock that's run by the Hunger Project Australia. And I was facilitating this trip. And we were sitting around this woman, amazing, dignified woman called Stella. And she's the left one in the photograph. And she was telling us this incredible story. So a few years ago, Stella's daughter and her husband died. And so Stella had to take over the care of her daughter's 4 kids. Things were really tough. She just didn't have enough food to feed anybody and certainly had no income. So the oldest, Emelita, who's the one in the yellow on the right of the photograph, Stella married Emelita off to a 28-year-old boy from another village. And as she was telling us this, she was kind of getting a bit choked up. And so with heavy heart, Emelita goes off to her new life. But a few months later, she's in the market, and these women approach her. They call themselves the Secret Mothers, and these are leaders who are trained by the Hunger Project in Malawi. And these Secret Mothers come up to her and go, "Hey, how come you're not in school?" She goes, "Well, I'm married, so I'm here at the market." And they look at her and they go, "Well, look at you, you're dirty and you don't have any money. What are you doing?" She says, "Well, it's not going so well." And so they go, "Well, we're going to take you home to your parents." And she says, "Well, my parents aren't alive." "Well, who's your family?" And so Emelita tells them about her granny, and so they go back to Stella, her granny, and they say, "Look, we're gonna get this marriage annulled and get you back in school." And Stella say, "Well, that's impossible. I can't take her on. I don't have any money. What am I going to do?" And so they say, "Look, we're going to go to the chief and we're going to ask him to annul the marriage. And we're going to ask him to financially support Emelita through school." Well, Stella she just couldn't believe this. She couldn't believe the courage of these women to do this. So anyway, they went to the traditional authority, the chief, and they asked him, and he said yes. And then Emelita carried on the story, and she says, "Well, that was a few years ago, and now look at me. I'm not dirty anymore. I wash every day. I'm beautiful, and I'm got 2 years left to go in high school, and I want to go off and train to be a teacher." I mean, extraordinary turnaround in her life. And then Stella's like just absolutely amazed. And I think, I'm sitting here with these people, these business leaders, and we're looking at each other, this is incredible. Like, who are these Secret Mothers? And we find out they've been trained by the Hunger Project, and they've been trained to end child marriage. And you start thinking about the courage it takes to imagine going to the mayor of your town and demanding that he annuls this marriage. It's not an easy thing, especially given the relative position between women and men in this society. And then demanding that he supports this girl through school. I mean, it was extraordinary. And we were just left with a gap between our courage and hers and theirs. And, that was our leadership lesson for that day from these incredible Secret Mothers. And then Stella told us that she had decided to become one of these same women's empowerment leaders trained by the Hunger Project to get girls back in school. I don't I have not displayed that kind of courage in my life. And I see the gap now for myself as a leader in my life. And this woman, Stella, and these secret mothers and Emelita have inspired me. And they've inspired the people I was with. If you want to find out more about this leadership development program, go to the Hunger Project Australia site, thp.org.au, and look at the Unlock program. And maybe just in finishing, just have a think. You know, where do you need to bring more courage into your life? Where do you need to challenge the powers that be so that the right thing gets done? It's a tough one. And next time you see me in a video, I won't have this mustache because Movember will be over. Thanks.